Hey everybody, we are back. I'm
Hi.
super excited. Um, so I hope that this comes out clear. Just let me know. Y'all put in the comments if you can hear me well. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Because sometimes I can't see if it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, but we're really happy to be here today. I am, and I know that I'm super excited to talk to Sharleen. She is such an amazing, amazing individual, y'all. She's been a part of my life longer than I've had the WIN community. So I get a little bit of the background.
Oh,
But today, we all get to know more about Sharleen. And I asked her to come on to this interview to make sure that we get to know her before she gives us some goodies. Sharleen has been just showing up all over the place. If y'all don't know who she is in our Facebook groups, just showing up in our morning atmospheres and even hosting in our spaces so that other members can really benefit from the power of their voice. And so I'm really, really excited because we're going to get to know more about Sharleen and who she is. So, Sharleen, let us know, who you are, what you do, just the basic synopsis first, and then we'll dig a little deeper in our conversation. But I'll pass it over.
first of all, hi. And hi, everybody. So, I really love your voice. And I helped you to use your voice to really communicate in ways that get you paid and promoted. So, those of you with businesses, those of you with corporate jobs, I help you to really speak with so much authority and confidence that it's very obvious that you're the person to promote and the one to hire. So, that's what I do in a nutshell.
And it's funny because Sharleen, I'll tell y'all a little bit of the background too, because when I first met Sharleen, it was on Clubhouse, and how she's speaking about like changing your mindset. Like it's like a mindset shift around who you really are when you hear the power of your voice. And I thought that it was really different, right? Like I was like, Sharleen, I've never shared this with you, but I was like, who is this lady? Like she just coming out of nowhere, just speaking life into people. And I mean, we connected. Charlene, I got a chance to really see the ins and outs of like you as a business owner. Tell me a little bit more about the background part where I met you, and you were talking about things that you did from speaking on stages, like very large stages. Um, did you always want to? And I said speak. I didn't say nothing about the singing part, y'all, because I'm telling you, the voice is like liquid gold. But like, did you always want to do that? Like, was that something that you really desired, like as a child? Like, tell me a little bit more.
So, yeah, I've been speaking on stages since I was 7 years old. I was always that one that was asked to speak at school, at church. And I was really fortunate actually to have public speaking training in school. So from the age of like 11 to 15, we were training every week, honey, and we had to give speeches every week. And I've never said this before. And I always got a B plus, where I was an A student everywhere else except for speech class. And it was very frustrating for me why I just couldn't get past this B plus grade. Anyhow, it's so funny how the divine kind of prepares you and interweaves things into your life to prepare you for things that you have no idea about. And the truth is, I had no idea that I would even end up on any kind of stage anywhere, because my plan was actually to be a counseling psychologist. I did my psychology undergrad degree, and that was my plan. I was going to do a counseling psychology master's, diploma, all of these different steps that you have to be a counseling psychologist, and that's what I was going to do. And then I got into several places at the interview stage of these universities, right? And I'm in these interviews these group interviews where they give you like these activities, and then they'll give you the one-to-one interview. But I was now in the group interview stage, feeling bored, and I was like, "Uh-oh." And there's nothing wrong with counseling psychology at all. It's a great profession. I respect it greatly, but there was something about me being on that interview that wasn't sitting right with me. It wasn't sitting right with me at all. And I remember actually getting into 2 out of the 3 places that I interviewed for. And then a really big opportunity came up for me in music. And I was like, psychology or music, psychology or music. And I went into music, deferred my places at these universities, and just never went back.
What? Wait a
Yeah.
minute. I'm so blown away. Wait, so you just made a decision that you just weren't going to do it anymore. That's so interesting. And to just like, and I want to go backtrack a little bit, because when you were talking about things that you learned in school, now I always wonder about that. Like, did you go to school in the UK, or like, where did you go to school?
So I went to this school in a town called Watford, which is like 30 minutes out of London. It was a church school. It was a really small school in terms of the students. And they had very specific specialisms.
Mm-hmm.
So we were given things like interview training and, like I said, public speaking training. And I was encouraged to sing, and I had my little group, honey. And, it was when you think about it, it was a really great school because it allowed us to really speak and to be heard. And like I said, every week, without fail, we were doing speech training every week. And I had no idea what that would help me to do later on in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just getting these B pluses, honey.
See, and that's okay. So I asked because I'm like, okay, does all the schools do that there? But I love the fact that if we're intentional, and it reminds me of like some of the conversations we have about raising kids, like, how do we invest in their success? And some of the things that you're even talking about, like the type of school you go to and how intentional they are about like guiding you through your life practices rather than just teaching you about a book. But I really love the fact that you're a high achiever, because I talk about this all the time. I feel like this kind of comes out of you everywhere, like how I'm very competitive. I feel like for you, you got to get that A. Like you're like,
Oh,
okay.
please. I was like, ma'am, Miss Tucker, why for am I getting a B plus? Okay. And I I never really got an answer, to be fair. But I was an A student everywhere else, you see, or in most places. So I never really got it. But she wasn't the only teacher, Miss Tucker, God rest her soul. She wasn't the only teacher that required us to speak eloquently and to be able to deliver, be able to read well in front of everybody, in front of the class. There was another teacher, Miss Syme. She required us to do public speaking too. So it wasn't just in one class, and I just remember having to pull something from somewhere, because now you're on stage, you've got to do the thing, go ahead and do it. And it is something, literally, I've never thought about that till now, but it's something that has served me so well. My goodness, I had no idea.
Well, listen, I love, and yes, rest in peace, because Miss Tucker, honey, got you lit on fire that day. All right. And I do want to honor the fact that I love my teachers too. Like if you have really good teachers, and shout out to all the teachers in our WIN community, because we hear you talk about how you're pushing your students and things like that. Right. Like I don't know if you hear it in the morning, Sharleen, but Tori goes off about like these kids and pushing them.
Yes.
But can you tell me more about like this high achiever mentality and how it served you? Because I don't know if Miss Tucker was doing that because she felt like maybe if I just give her the B plus, she'll keep
Mm,
striving for more, right?
mm,
Because sometimes I
maybe.
think some teachers do that because they're like,
Yeah,
well, if I give her the A, then she'll stop because she knows she's that
yeah,
good.
yeah. That very well could be the case, you know. I mean, she would give me A's in other areas, but she was a tough teacher. But you know, as a kid, which teacher you can try it on with and which teachers you just cannot. Miss Tucker was a try Jesus, not me kind of teacher, and nobody messed with her, okay? And nobody talked or messed around in her class, and you applied yourself. And I really did. So, your question about being a high achiever is very interesting because my mother describes me as a bit of a wonder in terms of how I would apply myself at school. And I remember being 11, 12, 13, 14. I would get home from school and dinner would be served. And I said to my mom, every day, I will not eat dinner until I am done with my studies. I would complete my homework before I studied, before I ate. And every day she'd be like, really? Like, listen. So it does have its pros because I expected to do well. I expected excellence out of myself. I expected high grades, high results, high achievements. And it does have its downside, unfortunately, where you can expect so much excellence out of yourself that you end up putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And we can talk about that little bit down in the interview, but those are the pros for sure. That I just expected to do well. I expected to speak well, read well, do well in my studies, get great grades, which is why a B plus would frustrate me because I was A star everywhere else. Um, it just felt like that's just who I was, you know.
Yeah, I think sometimes we don't realize, especially when it comes to business, how everything like trickles in, and we have to like check that and be like, okay, is that serving me or is that hurting me? So I like how you just kind of realistically put it in terms like it's good, but if you don't use it right, it can be bad. And I would love to know more about that because I'm
Mm,
sure you got stories.
yeah.
So, okay. I want to hear a little bit more about you in terms of like, what? Don't give me this side. Side.
I'm ready, honey. You know how open I am. I'm ready.
I don't do the deep dig like that. Like,
Okay.
like unless I prepare y'all for those real intimate questions, I don't want y'all to be like, oh,
Yeah.
she's gonna like put me out there. But I do know that relationships are really important. And you seem like a very strong and you girl, like if y'all have never had your voice read by Charlene, I don't know if she's still doing readings because I know that is not cheap, okay? But I will tell you this. They are absolutely accurate. Like you did a reading for me and I was like, what in the heck?
Mm-hmm.
And it all deems true.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when you have that type of gift,
Mm-hmm.
um what does that feel like for you in your relationships? Like are you able to have like lots of friends that really honor you and your gifts, or are you the type of person where you're just like, I'm private, nobody comes in these gateways
Mm.
unless you qualify to enter? um yeah, I'm just curious about that about you. Like how do you deem your
Hmm.
relationships? How
It's a
private
great
are you?
it's a great question. When it comes to this gift, I'm really open about it. And all of my friends really honor my gifts and I honor theirs. You know, I have a such great, wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, amazing friendships. I'm so blessed. I really am. And so they're really supportive of me. What I will say about my relationship with my own gifts has been, I've been like, what is this? What the heck is this? I've never heard of it before. In fact, I met one other lady who is another vocal alchemist, and we connected on Facebook, and it was like running across the cornfields like, oh my god, I love you. Because we hadn't come across this in anyone else before, and she's based in Australia. She's on the opposite side of the world to me, right? So essentially, you want me to talk about how I came upon this gift, or
Yeah, start wherever you feel comfortable because
okay.
I know that people need to probably know more about that part first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just remember watching YouTube on my television, and I was watching an interview with Kanye West. He was being interviewed on The Breakfast Club, and I'm watching it like normal, and I started to see things. I started to see barcodes that are on grocery items. So, you buy a loaf of bread, there's a barcode. You buy milk, there's a barcode, right? On the packaging. And barcodes that are in grocery stores have like thin white line, fat black line, thin black line, fat white line, and they make up this code. When you scan it, you get all the details about that grocery item, right? It's a loaf of bread, it weighs this much and it costs this much, and it's all of that. I started seeing these barcodes when I was listening to Kanye. And I'm like, I could tell what these barcodes meant about his character. And I'm listening to him and I'm seeing this barcode and I'm like, this is what he actually means when he's saying these things. And this is the kind of character he has. And this is the kind of background. These are the kind of traumatic incidents that he's experienced in his life. And this is what he really means. This is how he's really feeling beyond what he was saying. And I was just like, what is happening? Then I just started to watch other videos and listen to people's voices, and I could see more and more barcodes. And I was just like, I just knew what people weren't saying. I could see and hear beyond what they were saying. Since then, it's developed. I don't see barcodes anymore, but I do see images, and I just know things. I know things about people's back end of their business that they haven't said on the interview that I'm watching. I know things about how they interact with their team. I know things about what keeps them awake at night with anxiety. I know what really drives them. These are things that they haven't said. And I'm just like, how do I know this stuff? How do I know this stuff? And so when I connected with the other vocal alchemist in Australia, she was like, me too. So it's like I had a friend who can see and hear these things in people's voices to really uncover what people are really thinking, what they're really feeling beyond what it is that they have said. Because we all know that communication is 70% non-verbal, right? So we talk about body language and all of that, but there are tones in which people speak. There's all kind of uncovered meaning, and people speak with passive aggression, and they're not direct, and they have resentment over things that they've been asked to do, and they're talking about something and they're so passionate and so lit up that it doesn't even matter if they stutter or stammer. You are lit up by the energy that's in their voice, and you can hear my voice right now. I'm just like, because you can feel that, right? And so my job is to really help people to communicate the power that's on the inside of them. Let that be heard, not just in the content of their voice, but the energy of their voice. And I help them to just bring those things out. That's what gets you paid and promoted, honey. Let's be very clear. So, this is the job that I do, this is the role that I have.
Does that frustrate you when you're like, I know what you're really saying,
Mm,
and when people are not, because I mean, everyone's not in a place for change all the time, right?
of
But
course.
how do you deal with it? Because as a woman and you looking at other people and saying like, I want to serve you, right? Do
Mm.
you feel like you have created like good barriers or good, what we call them, yeah, like not necessarily barriers, but just what is the word I'm looking for? It just like totally eluded me. Oh, it's gone. Well, anyway, just basically telling people like where they can't come across to you emotionally, because I know that in the world of business, people play games. Okay.
Mm,
So, whether it's like, people coming to you for like whatever the reason is,
mm,
how patient are you? Like, how does this impact you emotionally when you are so
mm.
gifted and you're so finite? Like, you're like, I know what you're talking about. Like, you can't
Yeah,
tell me anything else, you know?
yeah.
Um, does it ever bother you that
Mm.
people don't really make the moves or people waste time?
No, no, because I understand that everyone is where they are. And I'm very compassionate that the things that I am hearing about their character and what they really mean and how they're really feeling, they themselves may not even be aware of it. So you have to take your time with people, right? I'm hearing at this supersonic level down to the core of your being in ways that they may not even be in touch with as yet. And so you have to be patient with people. Um, the only times that it might get a little frustrating is if you have paid for one-to-one time with me, and I find that sometimes it's difficult to reach people who have a lot of procrastination in their energetic of their voice or a lot of anxiety. Anxiety is this barrier to change. They can't even hear you anymore. All they're thinking of is, I gotta, I need to, I should, I must. And it creates this, they're not really listening to you. And so it's hard for them to really take on the coaching. But even then, I would say it's mildly frustrating because you just want them to be still enough to receive what it is that you have to say. But even that has to be met with a lot of compassion because I get it, right? Um, but that type of client can be a little difficult.
I was really gonna ask you too because I mean, listen, I have had my days, y'all. Like y'all know, I've talked to y'all about where I'm patient and where I'm not. So I
Yeah.
admire that because it comes from a very deep rooted place where, and I think you said it before, like you have that good relationship with your gift. Did you always have a great relationship with yourself? Was this like something? Because it seems like I mean, like, no, like the high achiever was in you, right? Like you're just like, I'm this good. Like, but I'm gonna tell you, like I told them my story. I was like, I sat in the middle of my living room one day and I was just like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like, why don't I love me? And I think
Sure.
even when you said just a second ago, like you have to be patient with people like you do,
Yeah.
because even in that moment, I was like shocked. Like I was like, how did I not know? Um, but yeah, but how's your relationship with yourself? How would you describe that?
Whew. I am a recovering perfectionist and I am a recovering hard on myself holic. And these are the cons of being a high achiever because you can be high functioning under circumstances where you're very, very hard on yourself. And that was me. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm actually learning to let go. I'm learning to surrender. I'm learning to let go of control. These are works in progress for me. And you can be such a high achiever that you set such a high bar for yourself that it's inevitable that you won't reach it because the bar's too high, even for you. And I definitely got caught up in that because it's my personality. And so, kind of coming over to the other side, oof, this making me emotional. Coming over to the other side where I'm in such a deep space of surrender and relinquished control, it can feel very counterintuitive because I'm so used to getting things done. It's the way that I clean, it's the way that I approach my goals. It's the way that I speak, the way that I think. Is about get things done and do it well and get things done and do it well and get things done and do it well and get things done. Right. And so, and so for me now, I'm in a space where I've become very comfortable with the unknown, where I'm not analyzing things and I'm not figuring out how to do things. And the self mastery that I am in right now is about just allowing myself to receive the word of God, which tells me what to do and when to do it, what to say and when to say it. And so my pace has slowed right down. And I've just sunk more deeply into my body and I'm not in my head. And it's a beautiful place to be. But to a high achiever like me, who is used to get things done and do it well, it can feel like a ridiculous place to be because I was always in my head, always figuring things out. What's the next thing to do? It can feel like the responsible thing to always be planning ahead, always be achieving this greatness. And I've stopped. And I'm like, what do I do now? And the answer to that is really just enjoy this feeling of embodiment and this self trust, this trust in God, this amount of certainty, this amount of surrender, this much faith in the unknown, knowing that all will be well.
The fact that you ended it like that, like all will be well, and I think that's so comforting. Sis, I feel you. I'm the same way.
Mm.
I think in our morning atmospheres, because I just want to honor this space real quick. For those of you who've never been in those WIN spaces, Sharleen is heavy in our morning atmospheres when we do our 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time goals, affirmations, intentions. And when you share your journey, like we get to actually hear each other's day by day journey. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. And I agree with you that when you go through that change or that shift in mindset, like I've done that myself. I'm what they call a recovering perfectionist, recovering procrastination. Like they're all cousins, right? All the
Yeah.
P's.
Yep.
and and so for me, I feel like that's so healing to hear that, because
Mm.
for a lot of people, maybe you're listening to this interview and you're like, oh my God, I thought like you may feel like you're not getting things done because you're in a different place. But I agree
Yeah.
with you. Like there's so much revenue and rest, y'all. Like
Oof.
it's just a new place, right?
Oh,
Like,
Lord.
but I wanted to ask you something else. When it comes to this mindset thing, because we're kind of digging deep into how what you do is, for me, the way, even when I'm hearing you talk about your relationship with yourself and how you work on yourself, it kind of reminds me a little bit of psychology. Do you think that this kind of just like meshed into what you already were thinking about? You just were thinking about it differently? Because some people go, oh, I want to be a doctor, oh, I want to be this person, but they really just are a healer. Like
Right,
they don't
right.
have to be the doctor, right? So do you feel like you found this place of just like your secret sauce, or do you feel like there's
Yeah.
just like so much more that that's to come? Like how are you feeling in this place in your life?
Yeah. It's a great question because, by the way, this interview is wonderful. You have asked me things that have triggered memories that I have never talked about in the business space ever. So I just want to say a huge thank you to you for that. But let me just say this: this question about, psychology and all of that, when I first got into the music industry, I thought that I had wasted my time doing my psychology degree until I understood that I did not waste my time. My very first business was actually coaching singers. And I saw how psychological singing is. Not that I just saw it in them, I could feel it in me too, because I was a professional singer touring with these platinum selling artists, right? That stuff is psychological. Sometimes your vocal ability is through the roof just because you feel good and you feel free. Oh, freedom and elevated joy has so much impact on the singing voice. And then when I stepped over into the speaking voice realm, it's the exact same thing. People, voice coaches, they will talk about things like project your voice and eye contact and pace and cadence and all of these things. Those things are wonderful. But the way that I approach the voice is just focus on feeling good. You've got a presentation you need to do and it's boring to you. You've got to present to the partners and it's all of these stats and all of these facts and it's boring to you. Then dedicate it to your newborn baby. Fill yourself up with feeling. Give yourself goosebumps when you speak. And there are things that you are going to be able to communicate in that presentation to your partners that is beyond the facts and the stats of what you're saying. They will shift emotionally and energetically, and it paves and prepares the way for you to be that promoted person. This is how people are. And so you can elevate everything that you're saying. So right now, I'm just like sinking into my body, and you can hear the difference in the tone of my voice. And my pitch has dropped, and I'm just more relaxed. And everything about your voice is like a keyboard, it's an instrument, because you can speak up here and you're so delighted, and oh my God. And then you can come right back down, and you're like, this is so amazing. And when you start to learn to play your voice like an instrument, you have your audience in the palm of your hands. You have your money in the palm of your hands. You have influence, you have power, and you have persuasion. It is a thing of beauty, and this is what I teach.
Man, that's powerful. And to your point, I mean, like you said it earlier, nothing has been wasted, right? Like your
Mhm.
degree, your experience, even your frustrations. um, but I am loving this conversation too. So thank you, because like you talk about environment, elevation when you're around the right people. I feel like it's the same with this interview. Yeah, I've known Sharleen, like I said, longer than I built the WIN community. So bringing this type of energy into the space is really exciting,
Mm.
because we came from humble beginnings. Like we used to be the ones in the clubhouse rooms doing pop-up coaching and, really changing lives. And Charlene would change your life in 15 minutes, and I'll just sit back and just be in awe. Um, like people come back and be like, "Yeah, I just like tripled my revenue." Oh, okay. In less than a month. Oh, okay, gotcha. Didn't know, but
Mhm.
thanks for thanks for letting us know. And and I think for me, it's just it speaks how powerful you are. And
Mhm.
I know that a lot of times we don't always know that. Like that's why it's really like really important for strong people to have strong people around them. Like,
Mm.
do you feel like you found your strong people? Do you feel like you're looking
Mm.
for your strong tribe? I mean, like, because
Mm.
not to knock nobody, like I'm not
Mhm.
no knocking nobody. Like if your friends are watching, not knocking y'all. I'm
Yeah.
saying that there's like sometimes, and let me clarify this. Sometimes when we elevate, right? We elevate to a different realm and like nobody's there. It's like
Mm.
okay, like I
Sure.
know where my friends are, like they're still there, they're around, but I'm up here and they can't like help me. They can't answer
Mm.
the questions. They can't
Mm.
guide. So where do you find your support when that
Mm.
happens? like that?
It's so funny, because we were talking about being a high achiever earlier and how it can kind of backfire, um, because you can be so hard on yourself, especially when things aren't going well. Let's be clear. When I first started my business, I fell flat on my face several times, and I am not used to that. I was going to swear, but I'm not used to that ish. I am not. That was really difficult for me, right? So, my approach to self development has always been about the up level. And I've spoken about this in your spaces on Clubhouse before, about this up level, and I'm up leveling and I'm on this road of self mastery. And until that started to backfire too, because how many ways are you going to up level, baby girl? How many more levels? Can you breathe up there at that altitude? Can you see? Can what, like, how much things do you want to up level and do, baby? Okay. And I had to surrender it. I had to surrender the up level in favor of deepening into myself, deepening into surrender. And so, because of that, I know that regardless of where my friends are in regards to their careers or their businesses or whatever it is, they know surrender. They know what it is to deepen into their bodies. They know what it is to relax and relinquish control. And so, therefore, I am not trying to ascend and looking around me to see who's around. I am descending into myself. That's where my friends are. And they meet me there, and we descend together and we embody together. And that is where the juice is. Because I think this idea of reaching up all the time, like I said, the air is thin, honey, and you're about to get dizzy. I just prefer to just feel so safe in my body and so relaxed that I know that God's got me. I know that my friends have my back. I know that I have my back. And that means that I sleep well, I eat well, I have a routine that is based on stability. I make real good choices, and I have a mind that is clear. It's not cluttered with thought. And that is where I can receive what God has for me, because God's voice. It's still and it's small. And if if your mind is busy, you're going to miss it. So that's what is most valuable to me now.
That is beautiful. Charlene, you have such a different perspective on so many things. Like when I'm listening, y'all, like I'll be like, listen, that's a bold perspective, but Charlene is not afraid to say it because it's something that you don't hear a lot. Like, because everyone's always talking about like new levels, new devils. And, you got to always do something more. So I love your perspective on that. And when it comes down to, it was something that I was really kind of slipped my mind because I was really about to like lean into something, but it wasn't supposed to be said. So, so I do want to say this because I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget it, which was earlier when you were talking about the voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how when people aren't really sure about how to speak in different tones and different levels, you teach them, like, to talk to them like you're talking to, your newborn baby, or sing to them like you're singing to your newborn baby. When you said that, I actually got a little bit of a chill. Like I actually felt really warm in my belly, and I got a little bit of a chill on my arms. And these are things that I pay attention to because there's something really deep about that. When you're able to lean into something that's so heartfelt. And I think for me, that shows a lot about how you are within your heart. Like, because some people have really, really big hearts. And I also want to know, outside of that part, because I wanted to just mention that, because I was like, that was because Charlene will give you chills, y'all. But I will say, outside of your heart matter? Well, let's talk about the heart. That's really where this extends from. Because the question I
Mhm.
really have for you was, how silly are you really?
How silly.
Like, like, okay, so let me just, I didn't want to just jump into it because I was trying to, like, y'all, listen, I was trying to lean in. Like, I was trying to figure out how to lean in from the last,
Yeah.
because I know that you have to, like, be a fun or energetic, or you have to keep some type of joy in you,
Yeah.
to be able to serve like you do and to be as powerful as you are. So, like, what does that look like for you? Like, do you laugh a lot? Are you just like a really quirky person? Like, how are you?
That's such a great question. What a great, great question. Let me firstly, before I get into that question, let me just say and clarify that what I was saying about the way that you speak and the way that you sell is if you're finding that you're speaking about something that is boring, but it's part of your job and you got to do it, dedicate it to someone that you love. Dedicate it to something that you love. That could be your newborn baby. And that's the way that you sell, right? And when you're selling something, you speak about all of the amazing attributes of what it is that you're selling, and you fill yourself up with so much great feeling because you've dedicated it to your newborn baby, for example, right? It's just a way of bringing the love into the room, because you may not enjoy selling, you may not enjoy presenting, but bringing something into the room that you're devoted to, right?
Mhm.
So, in regards to what you asked me about being silly, I was an only child until, well, I lived as an only child until I was 16 years old. In that time, I know how to make myself laugh. I listen, my childhood was spent. My mum just said I just used to sing my head off, my entire face off all the time around the house. So, this is what I do. This is what I do when I'm cooking. This is what I do mid sentence. This is what I do when I'm speaking to my friends. And I'm just like, that there was a meme going around years ago that said, if you can't handle me bursting out into song mid sentence, then you and I can't be friends. That is me, because I sing everything and I laugh from my soul. Like, and no one has to be here in the house to make me laugh. I can do that all by myself. Do you know what I mean? Because this is the childhood that I that I have had. But I'm so silly and I love it so much. I love it. And I especially love hanging out with my singer friends also, because we're all the same. We're all stupid. But we sing everything. We sing everything. And even the band sometimes like, oh my God, stop singing. And we're like, no, you know, we're singers. This is what we do. So, so silly. But I love it so much. I love laughing.
So this is cracking me up. I'm loving your life right now. Like, for real. See, like, you got to get to know people because we would never know this about Sharleen. And Sharleen is, you've been around for so long. We need to know these things about her because it's like, it matches energy. I love the fact that you and your friends sing everything. That is, like, beautiful. Shout out to y'all. Like, shout out to the crew. Right. And shout out to the lashing out. Y'all not gonna make us stop doing nothing. Like, um, I do love the fact that you are so just just you. And what does that look like in your personal life when you want to do something? What do you enjoy doing? Like, are you like the let's go out and just kind of have a chill night and do like a beat? What is it? What is that little thing? Speakeasies, poetry slams and things like that? Or you like, I'm telling y'all, like, I'll be imagining stuff. I'm like, Charlene's probably at a poetry slam right now, about to get up here and like tear that stage up. And they're probably up there like painting a photo of her while she's speaking. Like, this is just me in my head, right? Because I'm a big imagination. When I was a kid, my imagination was like this. So just
Yes.
excuse me when I think like that. But how are you when you go out? What kind of places and things do you like to do?
Well, if you're going to invite me somewhere and it doesn't center around food, then what are we doing? I really like to eat, and I like to eat outside. I like to eat outside in the sunshine. I like to eat outside in the sunshine with a glass of wine. Okay. So I have what is called, and I'm not going to use the full word. I have what's days. On an effort day, I gather my friends who do not have 9 to 5 corporate jobs, honey. And I say, it's Tuesday. Let's go to somewhere like there's this franchise Box Park here in London, one in Croydon, one in Wembley, one in Shoreditch. At Box Park, it's all these restaurants beneath one roof. And also they have live music, they have karaoke, there's a bar in there. I love that kind of stuff, right? And other groups of friends just get together to just hang out, have a drink. I actually organized a hangout later this month. We're going to a bougie hotel to hang out in the lounge, honey. Probably eat a steak, cute, cute stuff like that. And it's funny, I tend to stay away from. It's a weird one because if I go to any sort of gig that my friends are putting on, there is a likelihood they're going to put me to work. So if I don't want to be put, I'll be like I'm going to stand back or I'm not going to go, because they'll literally come up to you and be like, Sharleen, like, do you want to sing? And I'll be like, no. They'll be like, you're singing. They'll just drag me to the stage. If I'm not in the mood for that, then I will just food and doing things fun. I'm spontaneous. I love leaving the house at 2 p.m. and not getting home till 4 a.m. because we decided to go to a party in Brixton. After the party was finished, there's another party. Oh, I love it.
Okay, you are my cup of tea, honey. Like, listen, that is totally different than what I had in the store, but definitely you're my cup of tea. I love this. So, thank you so much, Sharleen. I mean, from everything from your background, your singing background, to getting to know you as a woman behind all the business stuff and knowing things you enjoy, the things you don't enjoy. And we didn't go back to some of the things that you said. And I'll mention this before we leave because I know maybe the audience might want to hear this part. In the beginning of the interview, you were saying that, there are some things that the people, not people pleasing, but the high achieving type energy does not serve. And so I want to at least give some space for you to elaborate on that if you like, just so people can know
Yeah.
if that's partly what they're experiencing. Maybe they may use you as a support,
Yeah.
to know how to change that type of energy.
Yeah. Let me say this, right? I didn't know that I was suffering with imposter syndrome until my AI tool that I had recordings and thoughts into said Sharleen Linton is suffering from imposter syndrome. It gave this summary. It,
First of all, I was about to close my laptop on that one. What?
Otter,
Yes.
text app, Otter. It gives a summary after you have finished. So I was like speaking out loud, my thoughts and feelings, all of this pressure that I was feeling, ways that I felt like I wasn't winning. And after I had finished, it gave me the summary and it said Charlene suffering from imposter syndrome. And I was like, what? Really? And I was like, that is. So being a high achiever in and of itself is not bad. However, it can turn on you, because I realized something, that imposter syndrome is, you're in place, you want to get to another place, a higher place, let's say, and there is a disparity between who you are and where you want to be, who you are and who you think you need to be to get to that goal. And what I was doing as a high achiever, I was looking future at the version of myself that I felt I needed to be, whilst making the current me not good enough. And that's where being an achiever can start to turn on you. That gap between who you are, who you think you need to be, where you are, where you think you need to be, that is where syndrome lives. And I didn't know that I was suffering with imposter syndrome. And it's so common. I just saw one of my girlfriends talk about that on LinkedIn today. And I've known, because she's a high achiever. She gets amazing results in her field. This stuff is really prevalent. And I let go of my imposter syndrome. Hey, glory. Hey, listen, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I gave up my imposter syndrome, because I gave up trying to be this version of me in the future, at this place in the future, with these achievements in the future, and I back to the present me, and I crowned me with glory, and I crowned me with support, and I made myself good enough, and I'm anchored in the person I am now, and I'm not trying to be nothing. I am me. It is good. It is well. And imposter syndrome went boop and left my field.
That is so powerful, so powerful. And I can totally relate, y'all. As a high achiever, recovered, because listen, it's nothing bad about it. And I think that that's really what the shock was, right? And I love that you shared that. So thank you for that. We have to get out of here, y'all. I have held Sharleen on long enough. Thank you for sharing all of your goodness. She is a fellow foodie. So y'all listen, if you want to show us love, you know how to get to us. But I will say that Sharleen does have an offer. She's been such a support. Like, she's been a host in our community. She's also dedicated a lot of time. And now she has this amazing recording that she's offering us. And it's not something that she usually does. Like, she's not just throwing stuff out there all the time. So when she gives us things, we cherish it. And we're going to be putting this on one of our landing pages for you all in the WIN community. So you'll always have access to it. But we want Sharleen, first of all, to present what it is. So let us know what it is that you're offering, and then how we can connect with you even after, getting the offer.
Yeah. In your relationship with divine intelligence, there's not just a way to speak to the public in order to get paid and promoted. There's speak to divine intelligence that puts you in the realm of creation, to create the things in your life that you really want to see. There's a way to make decrees. There's a way to make declarations. There's a way to infuse your body, your mind, with so much love and certainty that the goal that you have set will come to pass. This is the way that you call in clients. This is the way that you can support in terms of team members. This is the way that you speak to God. There is a way, there is a tone that responds to, and that tone is full of faith and certainty. And so what I have done is I've created an audio to show you exactly step by step how to do that, how to really unite with the mind of God, so that the two of you can create thing. And what I've heard from a lot of entrepreneurs is is thing about waiting on God. It's been a really distorted teaching, actually, because God is a now God. God wants to give you the now. God is not on these circumstances that you think God is waiting on. God wants to give you the insight and the direction now, but you have to start aligning your faith. And so this free audio that is available on the landing page that Allegra just said is completely complimentary. It's a for you to start creating the thing that you want in your life. And whereas it would have taken you 3 years, it's now going to take you 1 year. If it was going to take you a year, it's going to 3 months, because you know the mind of the divine. We don't deal in coincidences, we deal in synchronous. This is what God starts to orchestrate on your behalf when you say I'm ready. God says bet, say less, makes it happen. So that audio, the decree and how to call in clients audio is available for you right now.
I wish we had the applause button like we do on Clubhouse. You know how you like it. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm so excited, and everything you said, even at the end here, when you declare, you decree. I love the fact that there are no limitations, and when we really do step in our power, y'all, Sharleen is helping us do that. We are the most amazing. We are actually walking in our purpose and doing what we're supposed to do and happiest. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for that love for ourselves. So y'all grab this complimentary download that Sharleen has blessed us with. I will be putting it on in the WIN portal for all of our members. You all can see that on that landing page. And I just want to thank you again, Sharleen. It's been a long journey, but it doesn't feel long. I feel like I met you yesterday. And and if you're in the UK, y'all, listen, we do have some members and some people in the UK, but we really want to amp up some of the energy there. You can see we have amazing people like Sharleen there. She knows all the hot spots. So when I come to the UK, you know where I'm going. I'm be like, Sharleen, where we going? So and and I think it's really important that we continue this type of energy and networking, because we get to thrive when we come together in community. So thank you again for just always being there and showing up for us.
My pleasure.
All right,
And
yeah.
can I also say that if you want to stay connected with me and you want to learn how to use your voice to get paid and promoted, I have a free Telegram group and the chat. So join by using that link, and you can questions. I also have some amazing free gifts in that community. They are nowhere else, where I teach you how to speak with the art of persuasion, so that you can start creating what you want.
Y'all get in that Telegram group. I have to jump in there today, because yesterday, Shirley? I said I didn't download it. You know what I downloaded? It's like a link. So when y'all download it, go to the button, not the link, because I went to the link and I was like, where is the stuff? But I think I was supposed to click the button. So I did it wrong, Sharleen. But I'm getting in there today. And y'all do the same thing, right? Because there is so much that, when we're not in touch, we miss out. And I know I've been missing out on some stuff. So y'all join me in there today. Sharleen, make sure you connect with her as well, because I'm going to tell y'all something. Sharleen did read my voice, and I did say that earlier, but I didn't really talk about the actual message of what it was when you read my voice. And you said something that it still stands out to me today, and you probably don't even realize it, right? But it's like, because this is her gift, so it comes to her naturally. But it's like you said something about the way that there were these walls, and that they were safe, and that there was a weight of holding, and that in my voice it had a strength of holding, right? And I didn't, at that point I was like, what the heck is she talking about? There is no way there is no freaking way, because I'm shaking scared crapless right now, right? Because the truth is that a lot of us are really nervous and scared and anxious inside. And we don't really, say that out loud because we are feeling that type of way and we don't want to get judged and we don't want to feel awkward or out of place. But having that conversation with you, because you were like, I just gotta tell you, like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And after that, all I kept doing was thinking about it. And still to this day, there would be times, y'all, what was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
What I was saying was that you have the ability to contain, which means that you have this natural ability to create community. You have the ability to contain lots of people in the walls of the buildings that you set. And here we have the WIN community right here.
Yes, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. I said, listen, this was way before the God dropped the download in my spirit. So it was already being prepared. And it reminds me of that scripture where it said, one plants, the other waters, God makes it grow, right? So you were just part of this process of, even before the WIN community, y'all, when you say that you have to have people in community, people around you that are strong, that can help guide you. If I didn't hear that, who would have known if I would have even been bold enough to say, you know what, I can do that, right? Because sometimes you do need someone to validate what you already kind of feel, but you don't necessarily know. So you did that for me, Sharleen. If y'all want the same type of change, life effect, go ahead and get into her DMs, get into her space. She is so effective. But that's all I have for today, y'all. We got to go.
I love you so much. This interview was so enjoyable. Thanks for this.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Well, we'll see y'all on the flip side, because we will be coming back again. But y'all, make sure you follow us on all of the WIN channels, social media channels. You know where Sharleen is now. And y'all make sure y'all take advantage of all the things that she has. Love y'all. Have an amazing day.